From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
This is Paul Joseph Watson sitting in for Alex Jones while he works on his upcoming documentary film. Now, before the break, we were talking about the debunkers who have been out in force over the past few days, trying to portray Bilderberg as this group of irrelevant old men that have no influence over global policy. And we played a clip from Russia Today with the Ford Foundation operative Chip Bourlet saying that anyone who claims Bilderberg has any power over modern contemporary events believes in a fairy tale and is also probably a closet racist. Now, this completely contradicts the latest news that's going to go up on prisonplanet.com shortly with this top NATO Secretary General and two-time Bilderberg attendee Willy Klaas, former Minister for Belgium, who said that indeed Bilderberg do set global policy, that each member gives a speech for 10 minutes, a report of that speech is compiled, and then each Bilderberg member is mandated to enact those policies in terms of war, the environment, oil prices, global government in their own host countries. Now, people like Bourlet and Ian Hollingshead of The Telegraph use bluff and slimy semantics to imply that just because no treaties or laws are signed and sealed at Bilderberg, that the group itself has no power. But the fact that Bilderberg does set the agenda, sets the global consensus from a whole gamut of policy areas, as I said, from oil to the environment to the economy, is not only being confirmed by Willy Klaas, as I just mentioned, but in March of last year, no less than Etienne Davignon, the chairman of the Bilderberg Group, said in an interview with the EU Observer. Now, in a separate interview, he told the BBC that we have no power over global events, we don't set policy. But he was caught out in an interview with the EU Observer in which he said that the Bilderberg Group, quote, helped create the euro in the 1990s. Now, we know that the foundation for the EU and ultimately the euro single currency were initially laid out by Bilderberg in the mid-50s, and WikiLeaks got the documents, and these were also acquired by the BBC from the 1955 meeting, the Bilderberg meeting, which took place in West Germany, in which Bilderberg members talk about the agenda for a European common market and a single European currency. Now, bear in mind that the euro itself was not even discussed by the European Union until 1992 with the Maastricht Treaty. So debunkers could claim that, you know, the idea of a continental European system of trade was floating around in the mid-50s, which it was. But to claim that the Bilderberg Group, simply by means of it being a contemporary political idea, in the 50s decided to pursue the euro is completely incorrect, because the euro did not start being included in policy debates until the early 90s, the 1992 Maastricht Treaty, and then it was only implemented about 8 years later. So we've got NATO Secretary Generals, we've got the very chairman of the Bilderberg Group, Etienne Davignon, saying that we do craft policy, we do send our members back to their nation states, and they create major areas of continental unions like the European Union and like the euro single currency itself. Now, these 1955 documents detail explicit plans to create not only a euro single currency, they also detail the fact that it could only be created after the central political authority of the European Union is in place, which is what happened with the Treaty of Rome, which was signed in 1957. So Bilderberg made it clear in their own documents, and this was a year after Bilderberg was founded in 1955, that they wanted a European Union, and on top of that they wanted a euro single currency. That's Bilderberg creating policy. That's Bilderberg having a direct influence over world events. And of course, it's not only with Europe that Bilderberg have had a major input and a major impact on crafting policy that we see unfold in the short term over the next 12 months, which is what routinely happens, and then a decades-long agenda, which is how the European Union and the EU unfolded. In 2002 Bilderberg meeting, which took place in France, you'll remember at the time that the invasion of Iraq was basically a certainty, and that everybody thought that the attack would take place that summer in 2002. Now, Jim Tucker got his sources in the 2002 Bilderberg meeting to leak the information that Bilderberg had expressed their desire for the attack on Iran to be delayed until March of the following year, 2003, which is exactly what happened. Another example of Bilderberg setting the policy and then it playing out in the real world within 12 months. In addition, 2006 Bilderberg meeting, which is the one that Alex Jones attended in Ottawa, Canada, we got it out of from our sources within Bilderberg that the US housing market would be allowed to inflate into a bubble before it was cruelly popped. And that's exactly what transpired in the 18 months after that meeting in 2006. Likewise, 2008 Bilderberg meeting in Chantilly, Virginia, we learned that Bilderberg was setting the stage for a financial calamity, that they were preparing for a major economic collapse, and we reported it at the time at prisonplanet.com, and you can go back in the archives and see those reports. And they said that basically there was going to be a worldwide financial implosion, and the elitists took this as a message to reposition their assets, get out of the market. And lo and behold, a few months later, in 2008, September, Lehman Brothers collapsed, and it marks the beginning of the economic recession, which is now threatening to double dip and turn into an economic depression with the collapse of the euro, which is obviously what Bilderberg have been talking about at their meeting just outside Barcelona.